Well, hello, everybody. How are y'all? I hope everybody's doing good today and had a great start to their week. It is Monday. Let's see, we got Miss Janice in here. If you hear us, Miss Janice, have a great time traveling. Be safe out there. We love you. Hi, Miss Rhonda. How are you? All I need is Jesus. Coffee and true crime. Yes, ma'am. I am excited for the Lore Lodge. Tony has said that new things are coming that the public is not privy to. Cannot wait for that. I know last night it was asked if, well, we'll get into that in a minute. Hey, YouTuber, how are you? Thank you for being here. Got our Blue Eyes Jewel. You be careful while you're driving. Be safe out there. Hi, Chit Chat. How are you? Let's see who else we got up here. Hey, Mari, how you doing? Reserve. Thanks for being here. Hi, Teresa. How are you? There's Bobby and Sky Maiden. Get it to scroll down some more. Hi, Mary. Thanks for coming in with us. Brown Eyed Girls. Randa. Hello, hello. And let's see, anybody else? Oh, Falker's dad is in the house. Thank you for being here. From Briar. Awesome. Hi, Tony. Tony and Callie. Looky here. Show Poodle. Thank you so much. Show Poodle gifted a membership. Thank you for that. That is so sweet. And if you got that membership, please tell our Show Poodle thank you so much because that is amazing. Hello, Canadian Cookie. How are you? Good to have you. Let's see. I can't read it here. Hey, Brent. How are you? Good to have you here. And there's Miss Betty. Thank you for being here. Show Poodle, you're so sweet. Thank you for that. We appreciate you. Our channel's growing. It's getting a little bigger all the time. I am so proud. Thank y'all so much for helping me with that. So we don't have much time because we do know the Lore Lodge will be going live in about 2 hours, just under 2 hours. So we want to make sure that we get everything covered, get time to get off of here, refocus, reset, and be ready to go. I can't wait to hear what Seth and Tony have. I'm praying it's very good news. Canadian she snowed in, y'all. Over 2 foot of snow. Oh my goodness. Wow. That's amazing. I bet it's beautiful though. I love the snow pictures. And I like to be there when it's snowing. I just don't want to get out in it. And then I hate it when it goes away because everything's wet and soggy. So, anyways, well, we do know for a fact FBI went and changed their poster talking about Sebastian being missing. They do have it that he is reported missing on the 26th. He was last seen February 25th. There is no information after midnight that shows Sebastian. And that's it. If that was not him taking out the trash, then the last sighting was when he left Texas Roadhouse, from what we can see. So, of course, there was a private investigator that made a big old tweet or X on X. I don't know what they call it now, but of course, we're all stupid because that means he was not carried out of the house. It means that the blob was not carrying anyone. No, that's not what it means. What it means is that was so dark. There are figures walking around in the back, but no one can identify it as Sebastian. That's what that meant. He got fired. I heard he was moving on. I thought it was pretty funny. Charlene, how are you? Please drop. What do you want to drop? But yeah, I did hear that he was going on to another case. So I don't know. But, of course, he has to call out Justin and, always has to throw Betty in there and, a few others. But yeah, he was like, see, they were wrong. It's not anything that we all, the iPhone link, you will have to go to either Safari or Chrome and go to my channel and memberships from there. That's what you'll have to do. Well, hello, Narita. How are you? But all along we've all been saying he was last sighted on the 25th. There has been no anything of him after midnight. Yes, Miss Charlene, that's how you have to do it. I don't know if there's a different way. That's everything I've been told is for iPhones. You have to go to my homepage, go to memberships, and do it that way, but it has to be on either Chrome or Safari. So I don't know. I don't know why it's so hard for iPhones. When Androids, you just click the little thing and it's there. Hey, Bo. Oh, you got to work. Goodness. Well, you have a good night at work, and thank you for jumping in and saying hi. Janice says it's Safari. Well, but yeah, that was good to have a correct thing put up there because he was last seen on the 25th. So that is good to have. You have a good night, Bo. But you've got him leaving the Texas Roadhouse. Supposedly they go straight home. There is a dark figure that is seen. The hoodie was up, so they couldn't decide if it was Katie or Sebastian when they got home that took the trash out. And I wonder if it wasn't Katie, because if we look at Texas Roadhouse video, Sebastian has a t-shirt on. Katie had a black jacket with a hood to it. Hi, Marina girl. How are you? Thanks for coming in. I appreciate y'all all being here. Thank y'all so much. Oh, is that it? YouTube's owned by Google, and that's an Android-friendly thing. Okay. Everything's got to be so difficult, and you can't live without it. But yeah, so since we've got that updated flyer from the FBI, TBI still has last seen on the 26th. I don't know why it's got to be so confusing. It's almost a year since he went missing. We still have all these pictures of him when he was young put out there. We still have all the incorrect information, on what he was wearing to bed or last seen wearing? Black sweatshirt, black sweatpants. No, it's a long sleeve black t-shirt with black pants with the white stripes. All these things. And the confusion is insane. But instead of being the mother that last saw him and saying, please correct this, this is what he was wearing, it just remained. You know, she didn't go and correct the information saying, hey, I didn't see him after midnight. She didn't correct that. She didn't correct the last time he was seen was on the 25th, on that Sunday night, because she heard a thud, but she didn't go look. She didn't go check on him before she went to bed, and she was in bed at midnight. So the last sighting of him should have been the 25th, but I have a feeling she saw him after midnight. That's my opinion on it. But we do, I do want to go over some of what Jennifer Coffindaffer has said yesterday during her live. It's very short, but she got to some points that are very, very good that needs to be cleared up. And I thought we could go over it. Has everybody seen it? Put a 1 in chat if you've already seen it. Put a 2 if you have not. And that kind of gives me an idea if we're going to play it or just talk about the things. Because she had a lot that she had talked about that's more confusion. Okay. Hey, Miss Kathy. Hi, Cheryl. Okay, so we have some that seen it, some haven't seen it. Okay. Well, let's okay. Okay, let's go ahead and play it. We've had several that haven't, it looks like. And we're just going to discuss it. It's not, like I say, not very long at all. But she has some very, very good points. Oh no, Miss Kathy's got Wi-Fi messing up. Everybody seems to be having troubles. Hey, Brandy, how are you? Oh, goodness. Hi, Victoria. How are you doing? All righty. Well, let's just go ahead and play it real quick. I'm going to put a banner up so we're good and got our copyright covered. There was a video I played the other day, and I wasn't allowed to monetize that live because of the music that was playing in the background, but it's all good. So I try to cover my butt as much as I can. Sometimes I forget. And forget to put some little bit of music. Let's go with this one. Okay, we're going to put that little bit of music on right there just to kind of to help us out. But yeah, we're going to listen to it. We'll stop and talk about it a little bit. Let me get you going here. Here we go. Got it.
The case. I'm your host. I'm Jen Coffindaffer. Thank you so much for being here on this Sunday late afternoon. I appreciate you joining us. We are going to be talking about Sebastian Rogers, specifically I pointed out last time I was on that somebody sent me these amazing cookies that I'm going to have shellacked because they were way too amazing to eat. But they say, break the case. And I mentioned that each time I was going to feature a different cookie that they also included that said something. And I thought this was perfect for tonight's episode. It says unsolved. And we're going to be talking about Sebastian Rogers specifically, as most of you do. I closely monitor social media, of course, mainstream media, what is happening. Also look at TBI, Sumner County, and also the FBI to search for any sort of breaks in the case. What I saw when I was looking over the past week or so since we've had a show is just a lot of, and I don't want to call it misinformation, but I do want to call it confusion. And a lot of individuals asking questions, DMing me, talking to me on my Twitter X, just discussing different points. And so I wanted to try to use this session to bring some clarity to some questions people are still asking that they don't have the answer to, or that maybe they're just unclear about. Again, this channel, we focus on a law enforcement lens, 28 years as a special agent with the federal government doing criminal cases. This is all I did. And now it's so interesting in the public sector, seeing just a portion of really what law enforcement has. And I always think it's important to keep that in mind and point that out. We are working with morsels. We're not working with the entire plate of food. So it's always tough when we're trying to discern information. However, I have found that social media sleuths do a really good job of finding information that sometimes maybe law enforcement didn't look at. I, for instance, saw this in the Idaho 4. I'm a runner. Strava looked at that for Brian Koberger just to see his running, how in shape he was. And I was really impressed. I posted all about that. And of course, law enforcement shortly thereafter, and they would have found it no matter what. But they did subpoenas, a search warrant for Strava. So I think this is just kind of some of the things that we do in social media that can point out vantage points that maybe either law enforcement hasn't gotten to yet, because they will get to it most of the time, or maybe we'll never get to. So I love looking in the social media realm because there is so much we learn. But let's move on specifically to Sebastian Rogers and some of these points I wanted to bring up. My first point has to do with the dogs. I know I did a whole live for a very long session about dogs, and I had a dog handler on that discussed how they work, the different kinds of dogs. I personally have worked with dogs. The FBI has cadaver dogs. We had used local departments in the ATF for bomb dogs. We also used local departments for anything to do with narcotics, those kinds of dogs.
So here she is with the FBI, guys. The FBI. And they use dogs because the dogs are accurate. The dogs help. There's a reason they use the dogs. Sometimes dogs are crucial in searches. Of course, Mr. Chris says they're only 25% accurate, and he's absolutely wrong. But they do use dogs, even with the FBI. Now listen close to what she says here about the dog and the dog hitting on Sebastian's scent.
Dogs can certainly help an investigation. They can provide probable cause to a vehicle search and to different searches. But in this case, I think it's very important to understand what transpired and what did not transpire. So we're going to go over it just really briefly. And I think when I was looking at this, I think I found the root of why there is so much misinformation about this. And I'm not trying to cast aspersions. I'm just trying to say where I see it coming in was with Chris Proudfoot. There were multiple sessions, and I invite you to look at any panel or any social media platform, YouTube platform he was on, because I think you will see when this question was addressed, he definitely says and intimates that Sebastian went to buy at least some dogs to the construction site, the retention pond, so on and so forth.
So we've all heard it. He continuously tells people that Sebastian's scent was around from the house, around the side of his house, down behind his house to the retention pond, up in the construction area. He says it. He gets people to believe it. And he's absolutely wrong.
At least that's what I just got done listening to, several of those particular times that he spoke. And then also he says, and I do believe this, that law enforcement took items of Sebastian's clothing, but he was much more specific than that, Chris Proudfoot was. Chris Proudfoot specifically talked about taking the clothes that Sebastian Rogers wore the night before on the 25th at the Texas Roadhouse. And I have to say, I'm a little bit remiss here, because for those of you who don't follow the case and are tuning in for the first time, Sebastian Rogers, 15 years old at the time, turned 16 this December, went missing out of Hendersonville, Tennessee on the 25th of February. And I wanted to point that out. That's 2024. And I wanted to say again, we have clarity on that. We all know now it was the 25th that he was last seen. And the 26th, he was reported missing. So that date on a lot of these missing posters and flyers, even the FBI's, even the Amber Alert says the 26th. But now we know from law enforcement, and I read this email previously from law enforcement, that was confused. It should be the 25th. He has never been seen outside of when he was reported missing. So I would believe now, as I reported several weeks ago, that the 25th was actually the last seen date. The 26th was the date he was reported missing, just to clarify that. So going back to the clothing, Chris Proudfoot says that clothing was used by law enforcement with the dogs to try to get a scent, which makes a lot of sense, specifically if they particularly, in my opinion, would have used the shoes, because that has quite close contact, or the socks, pants. But in any event, that's what was said. But I want to talk really quickly about this clothing. This clothing, again, according to Chris Proudfoot, is in the possession of law enforcement as we speak. But there's something interesting, I think anyway, about the clothing that was reportedly on Sebastian Rogers when he went missing. It is reported to be a black sweatshirt, black sweatpants, and glasses, right? Again, no socks, no shoes, and I'm going to circle back on that later. But there's not a lot of specificity, only is there. I think there is more specificity about the specific sweatpants. In fact, we have seen the description of those as being not exactly sweatpants that are 100% cotton, like one might imagine, with elastic at the feet and elastic around the waist. It was reported as more specific than that. And I think that may come in as being important at a later time. But nevertheless, he was reported, and I thought this was very interesting recently when Chris Proudfoot was asked this question. He was almost irritated, and he said, "That's never changed. It's never look back at the flyers or words to that effect. You can look back. That's never changed."
But it has changed. It has. I just can't understand why these parents, the mother and the stepfather, are not making a better effort to get correct information put out there. It's insane.
I just wonder if that clothing may become important later. But nevertheless, I just wanted to say that according to law enforcement, and they're very specific, there was no scent of Sebastian Rogers followed by the dogs to the construction site, to a retention pond, up and down the street, nothing. So that's what law enforcement has said, and multiple points of law enforcement. So to be clear, the scent of Sebastian Rogers was not tracked by any canines outside of the home that we are aware of. And in fact, quite the opposite. We've been told the opposite. So I just wanted to allay that. Some of you I know already know this. You watch this closely, but I've had many questions about that, and I see it circulating again. All right.
That's because they need distractions. The only reason it's being brought up again and talked about so much again, it's because they need that distraction. They need his scent to be found outside of the house so that the whole original he ran away theory would make sense. Because without any scent, footprints, video footage, without any of those, he never left the house. He was in the house and removed somehow, some way, not by his choice.
I want to talk about a communication that came in. Actually, it's been probably about 10 days or so, but it's been a while since I've had a live on Sebastian Rogers, and I thought it was important to relay to you all. So specifically, I want to talk about a communication that was written by Heather Cohen. Heather Cohen was initially hired by Seth Rogers, Sebastian's biological father. And she worked alongside Chloe, who a lot of people know from Twitter, or Twitter X, who's also a PI, who was working free of charge on this case very early on. They both worked very early on. And in fact, from my understanding, Heather Cohen only worked about 2 weeks on the case.
Now, this is the post that Heather made, and I read it a couple of weeks ago, where she is talking about she does not have the box or the mattress pad or any of those things. But for y'all that has not heard this is the PI that Seth had hired, and he let her go, reasoning, from what I've heard, is that she was given more information to the other side. She was in constant contact with Chris Proudfoot more than she was with Seth, who was paying her to help find his son. So here's this letter or post that she made, is what she's fixing to Yes, I've heard that Chloe was dating SF. Yes. I don't know if that's true or not, but I've heard that. And welcome to everyone that's coming in. Welcome.
They were asked to leave the case. And, you can look, there's publicly, Seth sort of says why. There were a lot of issues. I'm going to leave it at that. I'm not on here to disparage anyone. There's always, multiple factors when a PI is told not to investigate anymore. Sometimes it's because the individual doesn't like the results. Sometimes it's because the individual PI or the individual hiring the PI feels like they found someone better to do a better job. Sometimes, especially in these cases that are so emotional, where it's your child that's missing, there's almost no results other than finding him that are going to please a client. A lot of times there's other things that go on behind the scenes that people might not be aware of that cause a client maybe to lose their faith in the investigation that private investigator is doing. So there could be a whole, set of reasons, but nevertheless, they parted ways. Seth no longer wanted them working on the case. I wanted to read something that was written on February 3rd, Justice Warrior Investigations. And I want to make it clear that Heather Cohen is a licensed private investigator and again worked on this case for about 2 weeks from what I can ascertain. She says, and you can tell she's angry. I'll read the words. Please, for the love of God, stop calling and messaging me about the Sebastian Rogers case. I only worked on that case for about 2 weeks, months ago. I am not, all capital, involved in that case in any way. I understand that we all want him found. I do too. But I have a ton of other cases to tend to now, and I do not have the time or energy to be interrogated by every damn armchair detective that is passionate about his disappearance. Again, I get it. I want him found as badly as you do. I'm trying to be nice, but do not come at me with this. Where's the box crap? I do not have the box. I never had the box. I didn't take that picture of the box that is circulating around social media, and I'm not working with Dog or anyone from his team in the background. I do not even speak about the case anymore, period. Prayers for Sebastian, ! Heather. Why am I even bringing this up? I'm bringing this up because there seems to be some interest, confusion, about this box. And this box, I think I have a picture on it on here somewhere. This box basically has been circulated. It says, I believe, like Katie at the top and photos and something else. In conjunction with that box has also been mentioned a mattress mattress pad with urine stains. And this kind of was starting to just take fire. And then it died down, and now it's been re-flamed up because Heather is making this strong stance. And I think she's making this stance because she's saying, listen, I'm not legitimizing this box. I'm not saying I believe in it. I'm not saying that it was even found. It certainly wasn't found by me. And so I just wanted to clear up to make it very clear that I don't believe the box or the mattress pad that I understand has any investigative merit in this case. I saw actually words from law enforcement that indicated they were not interested in that box. So I just wanted to clear that up because I see, discussion, rumors sort of flying around, and I just kind of wanted to quell all of that. I want to add that should that box be of significance, or should this urine stain mattress pad be of significance, law enforcement, I believe, will handle it appropriately. I have to have trust and faith that they will. I have to have trust and faith that they will, or would have. But it's my understanding it's not significant. So I just kind of wanted to quell that rumor that's sort of taken flight again a little bit. All right. I want to
Sky Maiden, there was a box that had a lot of pictures. They were pictures that Katie had. On the top of the box was written her name across it. It was out in the woods, along with the mattress pad that was soiled very, very badly. Almost had a red tinge to it. And there was, I believe, a pocket knife or a knife of some sort also out there. But law enforcement came out, looked at them, said it had nothing to do with Sebastian missing, and did not take them. And that's all we know on that. Ziva, no.
Talk about some of this film footage, the 100 hours of film footage that I talked about a little bit before that SF Investigates says he has it from different neighbors. And do I believe there's 100 hours of footage? I believe there's probably way more than 100 hours of footage that law enforcement has. But there's some specific footage that's kind of floating around again that an older couple may have had. Again, there are neighbors that are certainly, that are certainly have gone to the media, have talked to the media, have talked to different individuals that are trying to help provide information to their knowledge. So I think that when it comes to these videos, unless SF Investigates is going to show us these videos, or one of these neighbors is going to come forward and provide these particular sessions, we likely aren't going to know. At night, and this is a good segue in, Nick and Dog, I wanted to talk about them a little bit. Nick has...
Okay, guys, listen close to this for you that have not heard this. She is fixing to talk about something that is just not cool.
Gone very silent recently in regard to Sebastian Rogers, I should say. Not silent completely, of course, but just in regard to Sebastian Rogers. And Dog has been a little quiet. But I want to say why, and many of you may know this answer, and it is because, and I will note that, 1210, Nick has a green tape over his mouth, I think signifying he's going to be talking about the case very much anymore. And on 119, he alleged very specific death threats that were received. They're very specific, and most of it's on social media, but I think there might have been some private ones that he's alleged. And he also alleged that he has gone to law enforcement. He submitted everything on the FBI IC3 website, and that's been all forwarded. And that's what he should do. And I think it's a great approach he has. And Dog the Bounty Hunter have being more quiet on everything, because I do also believe Dog the Bounty Hunter, whether you like him or not, Nick, whether you like him or not, particularly Dog and Dog with the help of Nick, they have a huge reach. Dog the Bounty Hunter has 600,000 to 700,000 followers just talking about Twitter X alone. And
so with all of that number compiled into one person's post, tweets, whatever you want to call it, that's a lot of people to hear about Sebastian. But they have to cause trouble. They have to send death threats. They have to do all these things to try and push them away, because that's too many people learning about Sebastian. Make that make sense.
And his engagement is huge. When he posts something, thousands and thousands and thousands of people engage. So he's not just an account that's dormant. He's an account with a significant following and significant reach to get information out, to get Sebastian's face out, to get his name out. And he also, because of that, they receive a lot of tips. Sumner County is small, and the section that would be working on this case is small. So, and depending on exactly how much involvement they've engaged TBI and the FBI, they have limited time. And don't get me wrong, when a lead comes into them, I believe wholeheartedly that it is followed up on. But I'm just saying there's a lot of leads that people call in. They do not want to, the FBI or TBI or Sumner County, or in other words, they don't want their name out there, and they don't trust law enforcement to keep it quiet, to be anonymous. They don't want their name in some database that they provided a clue or information. They are apprehensive, maybe even because they've committed a crime. So they do not want to be anything but anonymous in providing information. This is why Dog and Nick at night is so important, because it provides an alternate avenue for leads to come in and for the PI that they currently employ to follow up on these. And they have the manpower and background to follow up. So there is, in my opinion, there's almost no downside to people being involved in these cases from that aspect. Everyone should be saying Sebastian's name. Everyone should be typing his name. Everyone, hopefully weekly at least, should be sending out his face. I just received information from one account, and then I also saw it on another account that they were with people from Tennessee, and the people from Tennessee had no idea who Sebastian Rogers is. And that doesn't surprise me at all. I always say this when it comes to jury pools. Everybody's so worried, oh, there's so much information. Unless you're a newsie, unless you're a true crime buff, you don't know about these cases. You just don't. I always use the Karen Reed case every time I travel, just to get a sense. I always ask everybody, have you ever heard of Karen Reed? You ever heard of Karen Reed? When I am on the plane with anybody from Boston or Massachusetts or that general Northeast area, I have yet to come across one person, just your average Joe, sitting there eating or on the plane next to me, flying, that has any clue about Karen Reed. And Idaho 4 is even underneath that. Everybody just says, yeah, they remember some students, because as time lingers on and the names and the faces are not on mainstream media and not on social media, people forget. And that's why I promise and I vow that I'll continue on this platform featuring Sebastian Rogers, even when nobody seems to care anymore, because that will happen. If you look at Summer Wells, barely hear or see anything about her. Everybody's sort of just given up. And, it's such a sad case. And I just don't want to see that happen for round 2 with Sebastian. So going to keep his name, going to keep his face, and I really hope everybody else does. And I continue to be just shocked at the threats. And this has been from the beginning of this case, threats and just nastiness. And everybody has a position on this case. There's a strong front of YouTube personalities and social media personalities that back, if you will, the Proudfoots. And, everybody's entitled to their opinion. I back Sebastian. I back finding him. I don't believe Seth was involved. I've said that time and time again because he has an alibi, and I do not see the motivation. But bigger than anything, he was working. He's a guard. He was working. And also in watching his actions post disappearance were very telling to me. I always say an example of sort of a perfect reaction of a family that has someone missing are certainly the Petitos and the Schmidts. And I wanted to highlight that there's going to be a Netflix coming out regarding that case again. I'm not on that one. I filmed about 3 different ones, but I don't think that it was one of those. The thing is with these filming engagements, you film and then sometimes it's 9 months later or a year later that something actually comes out. I did one on the CW that was months ago. It was Brian Enton and myself, Laura Ingle, and it just came out. I didn't even know it. The producers called me at about 9:30 and it came job with it, by the way. It would plug a little bit.
We're going to go fast forward a little bit.
The Netflix things that have happened. And for me, not only do I think the world of the Petitos, sorry, wrong pipe, is sort of the litmus test of how to work together. With this case, has a lot of questions in terms of Katie Proudfoot and Chris Proudfoot that he developed after a lot of the abuses came to light in terms of Chris Proudfoot and how he treated Sebastian. We did a whole red flag series on that, or segment on that, so I'm not going to get into those weeds again. But I just want to say that I think that is attributed to the reason that there's sort of these 2 camps. I don't care what camp you're on. Please just keep saying his name. Please keep getting social media, whatever it is, people that have never heard of him, don't know. Can we know if there isn't important information that somebody might have seen?
Hang on, guys. I want to get to one part and then we're going to finish this
found.
Okay, listen here.
Ask that on both sides of wherever you stand. Let's see. Okay. I want to talk about whether this is a criminal investigation. I still find it shocking that some people are calling this just, a missing case. It's just a missing case. It is not just a missing case. This is a criminal investigation, period, end of story. Brandon Carter, in January, I think it was January 10th, 2025, called it a criminal investigation. The FBI, who offered us that $50K reward, they do not get involved in these cases with reward funds unless it's a criminal investigation. As early as...
Okay, so you hear that. This is a criminal investigation. It is not just a missing child's case, it is a criminal investigation. Okay.
To do everything in their power to help find that child or that loved one. And so I think I'll leave it at that. But I think that is important. I said I would come full circle about the close, and then I had one housekeeping point to bring up, a couple of house cleaning points. A lot of people have talked about the shoes, and I actually said this the first time on Mob Crew. This is something I felt for a very long time. Knowing everything we know about Sebastian, about him being autistic, about him having an incident with fire ants, about his father saying he did not like to be barefoot, that he wouldn't have been walking around in that way. What I've always thought that is, if they prove foul play, if someone did something to Sebastian, whether accidental and covered it up, or an argument that got out of control, or whether it was planned, whatever possibilities out there, because I already did a live on our possibilities. There's basically 3, so I'm reverting back to this one. Not, we know the third party possibility too, meaning he was lured outside and taken. I mean, we're down to those 2 really. Lured outside and taken, or something happened to him and he was removed. But we've been through both of those. I guess there still is, we have to consider a possibility that he did walk off shoeless and that law enforcement just has never been able to find him. We have to at least consider that. But that was for another segment. I don't want to digress. I just want to say that if something happened to him nefariously, it makes all the sense in the world to me that he didn't have his socks and shoes on. Why? Because it would have been at night, would have been at bedtime, and you could argue, well, then why would he have his glasses? Well, his glasses are a very significant part. But if something nefarious happened, typically you don't put shoes and socks on your victim. You just...
What have we been saying, folks? The shoes were not thought about. The shoes were a last minute, oh my gosh, we forgot, because you don't put shoes on. It's crazy. It is absolutely crazy. But there it is, folks. I am going to try to look and see if I can try to get the link for the memberships, and I'll try to post that in chat. Hang on. Let's finish this up.
Stone. So it makes a lot of sense to me, if something nefarious happened, that whoever did the something nefarious would not have taken the time, energy to find socks, put socks on him, and to put shoes on him. Not saying anything nefarious happened. I'm just saying that's something we need to consider. So I also wanted to say, keeping on Sebastian, before I go to other 2 points off topic of Sebastian, is that Monday, tomorrow, on Lore Lodge, and I've become a Lore Lodge fan. He does a lot of cold cases. He has a huge following, 600,000 people. And, it tells me a lot when you look at accounts that have built like that. I remember, I'll never forget when I used to be on Judy Ron all the time, and Ron and I became friends, and, he even sent me a gift once, so nice. And, just keeping up with him and, his his wife, whatever. We became friends and communicated a lot. This was when he had about, I don't know if he even had 20,000 subscribers. And today, for the first time, I happened to look because I was again garnering all the information I could about Sebastian Rogers. And though I don't think he's done anything for about 4 months, I looked at that just for a little bit, just to see if there was anything I gleaned. Now he has about 400,000. And I was like, good for you. I think that is just so great when people take a concept and stick with it and grow like that. And I don't know if this channel will ever grow like that. I think it takes a lot of support from a lot of people and proliferating that you believe in a channel. But I can tell you this, I so appreciate all your comments and the kind things that you guys say. And I guess believing that in some way the advocacy may help in some way or another these cases. So I thank you all for being part of the channel. The couple of house cleaning things, if you will. One, next week, I want to do, or I will be doing, a segment on Brian Koberger, and I may be doing them weekly from now on. The Idaho 4 case is so important to me personally. It's a case that, well, for many reasons it's important, but suffice it to say, it is unbelievable every time I see social media, all the garbage that is out there on that case and everything that everybody's forgotten, and just all really just throw it against the wall and maybe it will stick for the third time, right?
Okay, I'm going to get down here a little further. I want us to hurry up and get through. But I want y'all to hear the very end.
We have like real lives, and that.
Okay, hang tight. Will you take Ziva down?
Sure.
Thank you.
That's a good time too. But in any event, I just bring these things up because
stay out of Ziva's.
It's so ridiculous. I always wonder, do these people understand that people like me and other people that are in true crime, we have like real lives, and that's where reality is. And for instance, working gangs, I think I had a total of 6 death threats from associated gang members, from their families, on a big Colombian case I worked. That is real, and that is significant. But when I see things like that, it lights a fire underneath me. Because
hang on, I want y'all to hear.
Things like that. So I like to. There's that one. It's because it's summed up part and parcel to what everybody's saying. Either, this guy, this girl, whatever, these phony accounts. And I wanted to bring that up.
Okay, hang on. We're right here at it. I want y'all to hear.
Take away.
She is fixing to read something that she received an email.
I'm going to read only one to you. Okay. There are few people who can sue that bitch Jennifer and bankrupt her, take her house away, take away her retirement, make that cunt pay. Now, the reason I chose that one is because it summed up part and parcel to what everybody's saying. Either, this guy, this girl, whatever, these phony accounts. And I wanted to bring that up for this reason. This is social media. This is where we discuss in our spare time, in our time that we might normally be, out on the porch, hanging out. We're looking at news and our Twitter feed and what's going on in the world and what's going on in our true crime circle, right? or whatever. You're watching a television show. When I watch TV, I tweet a lot because I'm watching a football game. There's a lot of timeouts and things like that. So I like to get caught up, sort of multitask, right? I'm watching, doing this, doing that. Or I'm driving on long drives where I'm not the one driving. That's a good time too. But in any event, I just bring these things up because it's so ridiculous.
Yes, it is.
I always wondered, do these people understand that people like me and other people that are in true crime, we have like real lives, and that's where reality is. And for instance, working gangs, I think I had a total of 6 death threats from associated gang members, from their families. On a big Colombian case I worked, that is real and that is significant. But when I see things like that,
here you go, listen.
It lights a fire underneath me because it makes me realize I am barking up the right tree and it's pissing people off. So for all of the haters out there who think you're, putting my flame out or somehow going to get me to change my course of action, no way. When I dig into a case because I believe in that case, I'm not going away. And like I said, keep sending those hateful comments because it just fans my flame to help. And in the Karen Reed case, it makes me realize I am definitely right. Else they wouldn't be so worried about me getting the information out there.
Okay, folks. That's what I wanted y'all to hear. We are definitely doing something right, or they wouldn't care. They wouldn't bother us. They wouldn't worry about us. We would just be nobody. But to have people start coming after you, it's because you're getting too close to the truth. I am so sorry about the iPhone membership link. I promise you I will have something figured out by tomorrow. I promise, okay? As far as memberships goes, let me say this real quick. We are going to try once a month to do a members live, at least one time a month. I hate leaving people out. I really do, but I got to do something for those who have joined. And so once a month, we're going to do a members live. Once a month, we're going to have a members only chat. And I'm going to try that. But, when people pay to have that specialty thing, I want to be able to give them a little something. So that's what we're going to try to do. I am still working on, and probably this Thursday is my goal for us to have a members live. So we'll make sure to get that out. Tomorrow I will definitely have the link that is correct for the iPhone link. But I hope that you got something out on her talking. I will, Tam. I promise you I will. But she had a lot of great things to say, things that we've talked about, and she's the FBI person. She has been doing this almost 30 years. She knows what she's talking about. She has the inside scoop. She knows. We're right on track with what she's saying. And for her to get messages like she is, it just cracks me up because she has all the connections to hunt down and find who's doing that. She's the person that has all the right connections. And yet these people don't care. And it is so obvious that if Sebastian were the number one focus for his mother, his stepfather, and their families, then they would be doing everything we're doing. And that's trying to find out every little thing we can to help figure out what happened to Sebastian. It's crazy that anybody would want to send ugly messages to Jennifer Coffindaffer because she doesn't support the mother and the father theory that he just walked away, because the evidence does not and will not show, because you cannot change the evidence. There is no scent. There is no footprints leading off because he was barefooted. There's nothing there. There is no video footage, nothing digital to show he walked out of his home. It didn't happen. And therefore, the only alternative is, if he did not walk away, then someone had to take him out. So it's plain as day. They can try to twist it and turn it all they want to, but at the end of the day, it still remains the truth. And the truth will never change. I don't care how much they try. I don't care how much they want to make it into an issue. It's not going to change. It's exactly what it is. And if they want to sit over there and make up their own stories and talk crap about the father, who has been proven not to be anywhere around when Sebastian went missing, it's a proven fact. You can't change it. No matter what happened in the past, it has nothing to do with Sebastian going missing. And that's all we're here for. We're not here about what they did 10, 15 years ago. If it doesn't concern Sebastian and where he was and what in his state of mind at the time he disappeared, it's not relevant. And they can twist it all they want to, but it's not going to change. It's not going to change the fact that it doesn't matter what Katie did before she was married to Seth. It doesn't matter what Seth did right after they got divorced. That was years and years ago. Sebastian had a home at his father's, he had a home at his mother's, and Katie and Chris's words, they were all three co-parenting in a very good way. Their communication only stopped when Sebastian went missing. That's it. You can't change those things because those are the truth. Speaking of memberships, Deanna, welcome. Thank you for joining. And let's get our gifted member earlier. And Deanna, let's welcome you to the South. Let me get scrolled up here. Welcome.
Welcome. Welcome to the South. We break that good stuff out. We got enough to go around. So can I get a right and get down? Welcome to the South.
Welcome, y'all. And thank you, Deanna, for becoming a member. We appreciate you so much. I'm going to try tomorrow to have it all set up to where tomorrow or Wednesday, and we'll gift out our memberships for the month and try to get some more members and have a really good members live going for us. So, oh, your grandkids are in the South. Oh, Tam, how awesome. But guys, there's so much that we think about. There's so much that the thoughts being put out there, and we can talk about it, we can debate about it, we can question it. But at the end of the day, the story remains the same. It is what it is. And we've been at this for a year. We've covered just about everything there is to cover. It's little tiny details now that we're catching that we didn't catch at the first. That's what we talk about now, because Chris Proudfoot can sit here and tell everybody there was footprints, there was dog scent that caught Sebastian's scent. The dogs caught it, but he himself says, they're only 25% accurate. Well, guess what? They didn't catch Sebastian's scent. And that's law enforcement telling us. That's what they're saying. There is no proof of Sebastian outside the home. And that pretty much tells you if his scent wasn't there at all outside of the home, that child never got on the grass. He never walked out on that grass or past his driveway. It's just, he never has. His scent has not been there. And so you can't go back and change it. You just can't. Yes, Lore Lodge will be in about 45 minutes. I believe Justin is on now. He's just doing a pre-thing. So yeah, it's going to be a really good stream. I will suggest, if you go into chat, be prepared. The chat in Jennifer's live that she did was absolutely horrible. All of us on this side of the street, we backed almost everybody backed away. But the things that were said in chat were absolutely disgusting. I have a feeling it's going to be the same way with the Lore Lodge, because they basically made the PI for their side. Well, they didn't do it. He did it himself. He made himself look like a bumbling idiot. And so they don't like him. Now, Charlene, I have heard that. I don't know, but there has been word there's not going to be a live chat at all. That would be best, because there's no sense in it. There's no sense in it, but if there is, you be prepared. Just sit back and listen and enjoy for a little bit. There might not be. I may be wrong on that, but if there was to be a chat, I just want everybody prepared. It's not even worth your time trying to go in and to defend. And if we just back out, it makes them look even worse. There'll be plenty of time to talk and chat about it afterwards. I know Justin said he will be going live right away. I pray it's not bad news either. I hope it's good news. Let's pray for good. We need good news. We need him found. Yeah. Shampoo, that's going to be me. I'm going to be sitting back in the bushes. Y'all won't even know I'm there. I'm just going to be listening. They were bad for Jennifer. Oh, gosh. Yes. Oh. But I did want to bring up one more thing before we take off. Last night I was sitting back watching Brittany J. They played the Fox News interview, and we've listened to it. We were more focused on her face and how swollen one side was. I don't believe it was shadowing. I really believe there was swelling to her one side of her face and her eye. But it was brought up. They were asked to give 5 photos of Sebastian to be displayed. One, he was probably about 5, maybe 6 years old. There's another one. I don't think it's him. It was a group of kids, but I don't think it was Sebastian. That boy was too hefty. There was another picture of that boy closer up. If it was Sebastian, he got really hefty and then went back to being thin. I can't believe the pictures we saw. He was not older than 8 or 9 years old total. And they're on a national platform for every person around the world to watch. And guys, they did not put one picture up of him his age of 15. Not one. Yes, Terry, we will go over that tomorrow and look at it. We'll go over another one, something else I had. I just couldn't be on here too long today, so I'm going to let y'all go here in just a second. But yes, tomorrow, I would like to play that and show y'all. I was surprised. I didn't even pay attention. I assumed he was one of those kids, but when it was zoomed up, I was like, oh my gosh. And there was one that I'm telling you, he couldn't have been 5 or 6 years old. And he looked nothing like the boy sitting at Texas Roadhouse. It is so obvious that they do not want him found, guys. It breaks my heart to think a mother is going to put pictures out that were taken 10 years prior to the day he went missing. Everybody out there in the world will be looking for that 5 or 6-year-old boy. Seeing the picture will help people forget that he is actually 16. We'll see it tomorrow, but it just goes to show how much they're trying to distract, how much of confusion they keep putting out there. They themselves are doing this. Yeah, I try to come on. My time is 4 Central, and that's what I try to stick with, because after that, the streets get really busy. So this is our time to come on and do what we can. And so, yeah, it's crazy, guys. We got more to talk about tomorrow and a couple of things we're going to go over. But yeah, be back tomorrow, because we'll definitely play that Fox interview and y'all will be surprised. I couldn't believe it when I was watching that last night. My mouth just dropped open. So I can't wait to show you guys that tomorrow. But it just shows these people do not want their son found. Just like the clothes he was wearing. So much confusion, but the mother never cleared it up completely. She just never did. And that is so sad, because she should be his number one support in this whole entire world. The one person that he could count on should be his mother, for sure, without a doubt. But all I get is doubt when it comes to her. So, anyways, guys, got just a little over 30 minutes. Check out Justin, go to the bathroom, get you some popcorn, whatever you need to do, and let's listen to the Lore Lodge. And after that, I know Justin will be live and everybody will be over there chatting and talking about it. So I'll see y'all on the streets tonight. But y'all be good. Get up and stretch a minute and be ready, because hopefully, let's pray, there's some good news that we're fixing to hear. I can't wait. So with that being said, love and hugs to everybody, and we'll see you tomorrow.